Car, and you're watching Worldwide Sim Racing's live coverage of the 2020 WSR Formula Euro Championship. We're here at Spielberg, Austria in the Red Bull Ring for the 2020 WSR Euro Austrian Grand Prix. I'm joined today in the commentary booth by Flip Flop Fish, your Tier 1 championship leader at the moment. Great to have you in the commentary booth for this race today.
Yeah, great to be with you. I'm excited to watch some exciting battles. These guys are going to be flying around the Red Bull Ring.
We have 18 drivers currently in the lobby right now. Terra Racer, Nolan Lopez, Alan Vore, El Think, Chaos, oh boy, Mail, Jordy, Fruitful, Paris, Julian, Ferreira, Gil, Max, Raikkonen, Samu Bean, Zach, Michelizzi, Paco, and two commentators and myself rounding off the grid. And just getting set for action in just a few moments as we get prepared for the third round of the championship. But with only 7 rounds to go afterwards, with 7 rounds including this one, it is going to be very interesting how the championship unfolds. We're 15 seconds to go from session start. And about all the drivers are readied up. 10 seconds to go. Here we go. Loading up into the lobby. It will be 18 minutes of non-stop action. Drivers are allowed to set up as many laps as they can in order to get the quickest lap possible. And then it's a 50% race. And just waiting for a few drivers to finish their load up. I believe it was Raikkonen we were waiting on. And I believe we were just about to get into the lobby. And here we go. We're finally on the grid. It is sunny skies here in Spielberg, Austria. No rain in sight. And let's get ready. 18 minutes to go in qualifying. All the drivers still in the pit lane. We're ready to hear the first roar of an engine. And we'll get set for action in just a few moments. Flip-flop Fish, any drivers to look out for today as I hear one engine turn on. It's a few of them turning on. Any drivers to look out for today as a possible contender for the race win today?
Well, I was looking at the time trial times earlier, so this is really only going to be able to apply to qualifying, but Julian, our 2012, was probably the quickest guy in time trial, and the IGK boys were pretty high up there too.
It's Paris who's going to be out first, and we're right on board of him for an onboard lap of the Red Bull Ring. Coming up towards turn number, I believe this is turn number 3 actually. An uphill right-hander. Making sure to get on the power early, rotating the car. Now coming up towards a downhill right-hander. And now coming towards the end of Sector 2 into Sector 3. And here we go. He's just about to get started in that Honda-powered Toro Rosso as we're going to get set for action with the first lap of the day. Paris coming around the penultimate turn and now the final turn, and he will start his lap. DRS activated, flying down the start-finish line up towards turn number 1. It's an uphill right-hander, and he's right on the line there. Very, very close, and now coming up the hill with DRS activated for turn number 3. I'm going to get the track map up for you, ladies and gentlemen. And fastest, of course, in Sector 1, first person to set times. Now coming out of turn number 3, looking very good. Now coming down the hill towards the next right-hander. Braking late, making sure to clip the curb as little as possible and on the power early, but smooth on the power, making sure not to mash the throttle. Again, using as much curb as possible, coming down the left-hander. Again, another left-hander followed by a right after, using up as much curb as possible. And it's looking good so far from Paris. Another quick right-hander downhill, and then the same for the final turn, a little bit of a dip. And here we go. What's the time going to be? And it's a 1:03.8, already blistering from Paris.
Yeah. The benchmark is probably going to be around a 0.5 or a 0.6.
Nolan Lopez is a 1:04.1, and Mayo is a 1:04.8. I'm running on board of IGK Zach right now. There's a few drivers ahead of him who will finish their laps, but I'll finish with the Renault. It is a Ferrari and a Williams. And where will Zach go? Zach goes third fastest with a 1:04.2. Samu Bean is fourth fastest, and Gil is sixth fastest.
Comes Paco around the final corner. What's his time going to be? It's going to be around a 4.7 for the gamer Paco.
Not a bad lap to start off. Raikkonen is now on his flying lap, just getting past his teammate. I would like to mention he probably did get some slipstream from his teammate down the first DRS detection zones. That might have helped him quite a lot. It's actually started second DRS detection zone. Yellow flag sector 2. It might just be a driver slowing up.
Raikkonen has the fastest middle sector. We'll see what he can do in the final part of this lap.
Max has a 1:04.2. He's fourth fastest at the moment. Now coming around the penultimate turn, right on the limit. Now the final turn, looking good. And just on the edge.
Raikkonen does a 1:03.9. Puts him in the
second position. And then somebody goes faster. Was it Gale? I guess it was Gale with a 1:04 flat. Almost 1:04 flat. Ferreira on an outlap. NSX Fruitful's on a lap. .8 middle first sector. Not quickest.
I'll be right back.
Chaos also on a lap, currently in the second sector. Though running low on ERS, and there's actually an Alfa Romeo behind him, and I do believe that is Think, I do believe. Now coming around the final turn, Chaos will set a lap. Let's see what it's going to be. It's going to be quite slow. It's a 1:06.3, so definitely will have to go faster if he wants to get anywhere near pole position. Coming around the final turn now is Fruitful. What's this time going to be? It's a 1:04.3, and now it's only good for 8th. Ferreira is now on a lap, coming through the second sector. There is a car ahead of him. I do believe it is a Toro Rosso, and yes, it is. The only Toro Rosso on track right now is, in fact, Paris. His teammate Midnight is not here. Paris gets out of the way. Good on him. Now Sector 3, coming through the penultimate turn, right on the limit, as all the drivers have been so far, through the dip of the last turn. Here we go. And it is fifth fastest for Ferreira. It's a 1:04.2. So very impressive time by him. And Perez, that's going to go start another lap. Coming through turn number 1, looking right on the edge as he did before. Let's see now, coming up towards the end. And Alan Vors retired from the session.
Yeah.
It did not set a time. And down, right, I do remember that. 300ths down on his Sector 1 time is Paris. So on another quick lap again, DRS activated, coming down towards turn number 4. And looking good on the, a little squirmy out of the action actually, and now coming towards the end of Sector 2. Racing Point getting out of the way, and faster again, 0.02 of a second. Right on the mark, but it is still much faster. And it's Raikkonen. Sorry, I believe it's somebody went faster. I think it was Lopez went faster. And no, Paris invalidated on I believe the final turn, so that lap did not count.
Sammy Bean does a 104.2, puts himself in the 6th position.
The two Racing Points in a good position. Ferreira and Samobin 5th and 6th, respectively.
Comes Mikulitsi up to the last couple corners. Let's see how he takes it.
Flying through there. I think he might have clipped it a little bit, which is not terrible. In the penultimate corner, you can clip it.
He's on the grass a little bit. 104.7 for Mikulitsi. Not a great showing from the Mercedes boys so far. Julian, he had the fastest first sector, but he invalidated his lap.
Again, we were talking about Julian hopefully getting further up the grid. He's in the Red Bull, but I don't think that will matter too much with these drivers. They can pretty much drive any of the cars and put on a good show if they need to.
Max, he's not going to improve now. Ooh, Zach's up 0.4 right now.
And he goes really wide and invalidates his time.
Comes, ooh, yeah, ooh. Yes.
You can only get away with that if you sideways out of turn number 1 off. If you go sideways, the game doesn't really notice that you've cut the corner, but if you go straight off, it does invalidate your time.
Oh, I meant Zach, but Zach invalidated the final corner too. He was up 0.4. Terra Racer, he's on a lap, coming up for the last couple corners.
The teammate of Raikkonen just gets past his teammate. That was a little close one right there, as Raikkonen is actually now down on his time, and I have to imagine that might have been because of his teammate. Well, 8 minutes and 30 seconds to go in qualifying, and it is Paris who is on pole position. And IGK Nolan is in 2nd. Raikkonen in 3rd. Gil in 4th. Ferreira is in 5th. A good position for Ferreira right now. One of his better ones so far in this season.
Raikkonen's backed out of his lap. Gil is 3,000ths down on his lap through Sector 1. He's improved. He is the fastest middle sector. If you can get him up into the podium places right now for qualifying.
Gil won the Canadian Grand Prix last weekend. Where will he finish in Austria? As he's right on the line. Somebody was entering the pits. He went really wide, and it's an invalidation on his lap. And it would have been down on his time, and I think it would have pole vaulted him actually, maybe into the just behind 3rd actually, I think. Now, one of the Mercedes drivers is on an out lap, but that is Jordy, and he's letting by the Racing Points. The Racing Points are looking to get a little further up the grid. They're 5th and 6th at the moment. Definitely not a bad place to be, as we're just about 7 minutes to go left in qualifying, and we're getting ready for the start. I'm going to actually switch to our stream, as the Race All-Star Series is live right now, and it auto-directed me to that. And Jordy lets by a few drivers. I do believe Ferrari now going into the pits. One of the Alphas is coming across the line and is much slower than they were before. Mail is invalidated.
Here comes Nolan Nolan is down on his lap. Go on board with Paris. Paris is invalidated.
Nolan down, though, by only a little bit. Maybe can make it through the final few turns. Down the penultimate corner. Clips the curb a little bit. Now coming out of the exit. Just on the exit line. And it is pole position for Nolan. It's a 1:03.881. Oh my goodness. Ooh.
That's pretty cool.
Shades of Schumacher and Villeneuve in Jerez. Now we just need one more person to set the same time. Now, actually, interestingly enough, though, Paris did set that time first, yet they still gave pole position to Nolan.
Oh, but Julian takes it.
Well, there goes pole position for those two as Julian, 103.7. And then Jordy goes fourth fastest.
Holy moly. Where did Jordy bring that pace from? Oh my gosh.
The Mercedes driver up in the top 5. Michelizzi improves on his time, but it's still only 13th fastest. Jordy with a killer lap. The 2 racing points have dropped down the 7th and 8th. Gale is 6th, and Raikkonen is 5th. I believe he is out of fuel.
Alright, so nobody's on their lap right now. But we're just going to have a frantic rush at the end, it seems. It'll be 17 people on track at the same time. That's going to be pretty interesting. Hopefully nobody's lap's going to want.
So Jordy is in 4th position right now. A fantastic lap. Paris is in 3rd, Nolan in 2nd, and Julian with a fantastic lap to get himself in the pole position. As we expected initially for him to get at least near pole position, but we definitely didn't rule out a pole position time for him.
Looks like Zach will be the first person to set his final lap. He's coming up towards the top of the hill right now. So nobody else is on track, but it looks like a Williams and maybe a Red Bull, Alfa Romeo. Going off track right now.
Chaos was the first driver to come out, got ahead of the Alfa Romeo, who is Elfink. And Zach is in the 2nd sector, just warming up his tires. Brand new softs on the Renault. Let's see what he can do. 9th fastest at the moment. A little further behind Raikkonen.
Yeah, my screen light, I thought he crashed.
Paris is saying Parc Ferme is disabled. He's coming down the DRS straight now is Zach, and through turn number 1 looking good right now, but Paris says the Parc Ferme is disabled.
Must be. Oh, Drew.
He's asking if that's a lobby reset. And, oh, man! Zach takes out the front wing of Raikkonen on his outlap.
No, he's on his lap.
No, but Zach took out Raikkonen's front wing on... Raikkonen's on an outlap, and coming through turn number 1, Raikkonen's front wing got taken out by his teammate. Oh, man. Big drama at the Renault house as Raikkonen has front wing damage before he's even able to start another lap. And it's his teammate that took it out nonetheless.
I didn't even see it. So, I'll have to look back on stream, I guess.
And Raikkonen goes into the pits. Zach improves to 2nd fastest.
Woo! I want to see this on stream. I know they're very close friends.
But Raikkonen will not be setting another time unless he can get out of the pit lane immediately. And Zach goes off track as a bunch of drivers are on their outlaps right now. I do believe we'll just continue on with the lobby.
Oh, right. So they're doing their slipstream technique, and Raikkonen got out too late and he couldn't brake soon enough, so he almost took out his teammate on his lap. That's what happened. He went on the grass to try and avoid him. He barely clipped him.
Nevertheless, Raikkonen is dropping down positions, and I have a feeling he might be dropping down more positions, as Raikkonen is going to get out of the pit lane, but there's only a minute and 5 to go. I don't think he's going to be able to get around for another lap. And Nolan is on another lap. There's a yellow in the 2nd sector. third fastest at the moment in the McLaren. Nolan looking to get on pole position. Zach is ahead of him, and Julian is the man on pole position. A Racing Point gets out of the way. That is, I believe it was Samu Bean who got out of the way for him. Here comes Nolan, fastest second sector for the McLaren. Coming down in sector 3.
Oh, Julian, 103.5.
A 103.5, that's a blistering time. Can no one match that? Coming wide out of the turn, it's still valid. What's the time going to be? No, third fastest behind Zach at the moment. Paris is coming around, and he is slower than his previous time in the second sector. Samu Bean retires from the session. I think he retired in the pit lane. Yeah. He did. Good. Here comes Paris, slower, and that's going to be even slower, running up on the grass out of the exit. So Paris not looking good right now as he's going to come through the penultimate turn. And let's see, up into the pits. Paris will not get on pole position today. We're running on board with, Gio, I believe, has forgone his lap.
Yeah.
Raikkonen was able to set another lap.
L-Tank improved, but he has 3 laps on his soft compound tires. It's pretty bizarre. But Raikkonen coming through the second sector now. What's the split going to be? He's going to be up by 5 thousandths.
And it's fastest in the second sector.
Might have a lot of time to gain here in this final sector. It's a perfect
through the
lane.
Penultimate turn, a little bit of curve, not too bad.
He might get invalid.
No, he's not invalidated. And no, only 7th fastest. He went slower by 9 thousandths of a second. I think going wide did not help him. So it is Julian on pole position, the only driver at the moment who's on a lap. Nope, Mail was on a lap, but is having a little bit nice fun in the beaches, as he actually does retire from the session now. So it's Julian on pole position. Zach's time is invalidated. Well, any surprises right now? I think Jordy's the surprise. 6th fastest in the Mercedes. Wasn't looking good at the beginning of the session. As there's your starting lineup for this Austrian Grand Prix. A minute to go left in qualifying, and I think it is Zach just we're waiting to get into the pit lane. And there's Terror Racer. He's in 15th place on the grid. Not great from him. And let's look over the top 5. It's Julian on pole position, Zach in 2nd, Nolan in 3rd, 4th is Paris, and Gil is in 5th. Jordy is 6th, Raikkonen 7th, Elthink is 8th, Samu Bean is 9th, and the Racing Point of Ferreira, his teammate, rounds off the grid. So here we go, 10 seconds to go left for the start of the session. Definitely going to be an interesting race. Is it sunny skies? I do believe for the rest of the session.
Yeah. Sunny skies in Spielberg in real life, and it's going to be in the same thing in the game.
And here we go, getting ready for the start of the 2020 WSR Austrian Grand Prix. Thank you very much for joining us if you are. This is Worldwide Sim Racing's live coverage of the 2020 WSR Formula Euro Championship. And we're here at Spielberg for the Austrian Grand Prix. We're just getting ready for all the drivers to load up. There'll be about 30 seconds of wait time, and then I'll go over your starting lineup for this race.
Yeah, it's going to be an all-out sprint, 36 laps around the Red Bull Ring. Might be a DRS train, but it'll be extremely exciting to watch. You can do a lot of strategies here, so should be interesting.
And the race should be just about 36 to 38 minutes long. as the laps are extremely fast around here.
Yeah, about 106 race pace, 107.
Somebody obviously cheated on the time trials on PS4 because he has a 57-second. I don't know how we start that.
Probably a glitch.
And here we go. Julian getting off his pole position line, and he is the man on pole position. It is Zach behind him in the Renault. Nolan in the McLaren in third. Paris in the Toro Rosso in fourth. Gil in the SF90 from Scuderia Ferrari is in fifth position. Jordy in the Mercedes in sixth position, and Zach's teammate Raikkonen is down in seventh after a little bit of a teammate gaffe in the final parts of qualifying. Elthink is in 8th position, and the two racing points are 9th and 10th respectively, rounding off the top 10. The gamer Paco is 11th fastest in the Red Bull, Max behind him in the McLaren in 12th. Fruitful, not a great qualifying for him, in 13th at the moment in the Williams. Michelizzi, not nearly the same pace of his teammate, who is 6th fastest, 14th for Michelizzi. Will definitely have to make up some ground. Terra Racer in the Haas is in 15th. Mail is in 16th. And Chaos in the Williams is in 17th. And Alan Vore in the Haas rounds off the grid.
So it looks like everybody outside the top 10 except Chaos are on the medium compound tires. So maybe Chaos looking to make some positions up early.
As Julian comes around the final turn, and all the cars will slot into their grid positions. The 5 lights will come on, and then they'll come off, and we'll be go for the 2020 WSR Austrian Grand Prix for the Euro Championship. And the final Haas car of Alan Vore slots into his grid position, and here we go. Getting ready for the start. And it is 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it is go! It's go! And it's Julian who gets a good start off the line. And the McLaren of Nolan gets a good start, but gets cut across by Zach. Zach slots himself in the second position. It's the Ferrari of Gil who's going side by side of Paris, and Paris gets ahead of him. And now here comes Raikkonen. Raikkonen's far outside of it, and now Jordy's trying to go on the inside, coming in the turn number 1. And look at this, Paris on the inside of Gil, but Gil gets ahead of Paris. And Nolan is in third, trying to get ahead of Zach on the inside towards the turn number 4, and he gets the move done. And Zach slots behind him, Nolan in the second position. Julian, though, unchallenged so far in this race, in first position, having nobody to contend with, and a good start by the pole man. And Nolan with a good start in second. Zach is in third, Paris in fourth, Gil is in fifth, Raikkonen in sixth, Elthink is in seventh, Jordy has dropped down to eighth, a bad start for him, and Samu Bean is in ninth and 10th. Again, both of the racing points staying relatively just the same, as Julian goes fastest at the moment with a 109.8, but that will definitely drop on the second lap.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a DRS trend today.
Here comes Nolan, already going side by side of Julian up towards what is going to be a DRS straight on the next lap, and Julian just giving Nolan enough room, but a very good defensive move nonetheless. And Zach now is going to try to get onto Nolan, who would obviously have his exit compromised by that defensive move from Julian.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal. Like, penalties are going to be the main factor in this race. In my opinion, at least. Going to be whoever has the least amount of penalties is probably going to win this race, especially if we have a late safety.
And Nolan's into the lead. Nolan's into the lead of the race. Julian dropping down the third. What happened there in those few corners? He dropped 2 positions, and now Paris is all over him. They're 3 wide. There goes the Ferrari of Gil on the inside of Paris. And Julian keeps third from all that chaos, and he was saved there as he was getting tag teamed by the Ferrari and the Toro Rosso. Somebody's out of the session. Somebody had a crash in the third sector, and chaos is into the pits very early.
Now Zach's gonna have to push it to stay in that DRS of Nolan, or else this is a done deal.
And whoa, look at that. Oh, Julian tried to go on the inside, but a little bit too far back, and Zach took the line as he deserved it.
KJ Eltic has gotten past Jordy F1 down into turn 3.
I would like to mention Mail going side by side of Michelizzi down the DRS straight. These two drivers looking very close indeed. Now Michelizzi will try to dive on the inside of the Haas car, I do believe, getting close to it, but no cigar. Mail will slot behind him. Nolan in the lead.
That was an extremely opportunistic move from Gil there. Normally, no, but that was impressive. That's all I have to say. Don't know what to say.
Here we go down the lap number 4. Up the first DRS zone, and Zach is dropping away from Nolan. This is not good for his race. If he drops out of the DRS, he is a dead man right now, as Julian is also dropping back from Zach a little bit, though, as well. Gil, however, is keeping close to Julian, and Gil almost takes his front wing out, lost his braking zone, is dropping down positions. Now Raikkonen is on Gil, and Gil gets past Raikkonen, and Raikkonen will probably try to make a move on the inside, will brake as late as possible, and Gil gives him the space. I think he gave him a little bit too much space, a little too nice to Raikkonen. Raikkonen's going to take the position. Thank you very much, sir. And I think that was a mistake from Gil. Raikkonen really didn't have the braking zone right through the turn. Gil just gave him too much space.
Mail and Samu Bean. Mail's going to get ahead of Samu Bean, but Samu Bean's going to try and hang it around the outside. Here comes Michelizzi.
These two drivers, 13, 14, and 15. Oh, Samu Bean spins it, and he goes into the gravel trap, but thankfully, and no, he put it into the wall. I don't know if he has front wing damage. I believe he might have end plate issues. And no, actually, the car seems okay. So he can continue on with the race, though the soft tires are going to be a lot worse than they were. And actually, will go into the pits regardless and go to switch tires.
Yeah, looking at the ERS, Julian has a lot of ERS along with Pierce Bureau. So they're doing well in the ERS. Zach is down to about 10%, and Nolan is struggling around 40% too. So that's going to be another key important factor.
Chaos leaves the session in the pit lane.
So if you're going to quit, you might as well just retire in the pits. Because now his ghost car is going to get in the way of people. His car's going to get in the way of people.
Samu Bean retires from the session. A crash. Virtual safety car deployed.
Where did he crash? On the pit exit?
The exit, a turn. Oh, what? Right on the middle of the track. That's a very odd accident. As virtual safety car has been deployed, none of the leaders pit. But no, Raikkonen to the pits. Raikkonen will take his pit stop right now. Now, I'm not a huge fan of pitting under virtual safety car. You never know how long it's going to last. So we'll have to wait and see if this works out for Raikkonen, who will obviously go on to the medium compound tire, I would presume. And yes, medium tires go on for Raikkonen. And he is the only driver that went into the pits, and we're back under green flag conditions. So hopefully this works out for Raikkonen, but I have a feeling maybe it didn't. And Ferreira gets past Jordy on the DRS straight, and now Jordy will dive on the inside in a fantastic move by the Mercedes, but a switchback by Ferreira, and Ferreira is still side by side of the Mercedes driver. They're side by side coming up towards this first left-hander, and then it's going to be another left-hander right after that, and they bump the front wing of Ferreira in on Jordan's rear tire, and Jordy now definitively gets past Ferreira for the time being.
I'm a bit worried about Chaos's ghost car because it's going very slow and it's going to affect these guys' races.
No, so Zach is keeping it within DRS range, but hasn't really made up a lot of time on Zach, even on the DRS straight. But he's a little closer than he was before on this time, and he will try to get closer and closer, but no one is keeping him honest at the moment, and Zach is doing all he can. Jordy gets past the Alfa Romeo of Elthink into this right-hander, and yes, and then Ferreira will look to make it, but no, a little bit too far back, and Elthink gets ahead of him. And Zach is getting closer and closer to Nolan. Elthink very close to the back of the gearbox of Jordy F1. Coming through this left-hander, and Jordy goes a little wide there. He missed his braking zone a little bit. And was that a time penalty for Nolan? I think it was. Multiple warnings for Nolan of 3 seconds. And that is bad news for the McLaren driver. As a leader, you do not want to be getting penalties. Elthink gets his own 3-second time penalty. And Zach is going to chase down Nolan now with a 3-second buffer. We're on lap number 8 right now. Here comes Elthink. Switching to the inside. Close, but no. Gio in 5th right now, a second behind. Paris now is about 3/10. Oh, and Julian locks up. Julian is struggling on his soft tire. Started well on pole position, had an incident, and is now down the 3rd. And Paris in the Toro Rosso trying to chase him down. And Julian goes on the sand, and Paris is pressurizing the Red Bull driver.
Stupid AI car is going to get in the way. Great job, Chaos!
Oh no, Chaos! Oh, Nolan's out of the session. Virtual safety car deployed, and that is purely Chaos's fault. Didn't leave.
Should we restart there, because that car's going to affect the whole race. I'm going to have to contact Drew on that.
Unbelievable.
That's pathetic. You have to retire the car in the pits.
I think drivers should assume they go into the pits, even if they quit. That's unbelievable. Now Julian's coming up to Chaos, and he's in a battle with Paris right now. Paris wants to dive on the inside, will dive on the inside, but Chaos is getting in the way. Paris has to overtake him.
We have to restart it, because his car's just going to affect the whole race and ruin it. I'm going to call Drew right now.
Did you catch the qualifying results? We'll make sure we'll just do a race.
Restart. Yeah, we'll do the full race. Hopefully we can get in time.
All right, you want to announce that? We will restart this race. Chaos left the session and did not retire the car in the pit lane, and has caused major issues. Nolan out of the race, and not much I can say about that one. Just wow. I think drivers have to now remember he didn't retire, but I think he thought he would retire in the pit lane from quitting, and he didn't.
Should we restart it?
I would restart it. I mean, that's up to Drew's call, but I personally would restart it. I mean, it's just a little ridiculous that leaders in races have to deal with issues like that.
I'm trying to get Drew on the phone.
Are you calling him, or do you want me to call him?
No, I keep getting sent to voicemail. So, do you want to make the call?
Restart the race. Notify drivers. Restart the race. And drivers are still racing. I did make the call to restart the race, but
I made it in chat.
Do you want to go into the voice chat? We'll just tell drivers.
I don't. No, Chaos, you did not retire.
And Max has retired in the pit lane.
Yeah.
And now look, holding up more drivers. he's getting in the way of overtakes now, and that's causing issues for battles. And Julian is into the pits. I don't know if this is a scheduled pit stop
Are we just
or
not
will
going to
retire.
restart it, or?
I mean, you can't do it in the chat. You have to go into the driver chat and announce it.
Nobody's in the Discord.
No,
I mean,
go
I guess...
no. Go into the game lobby chat. Just prioritize game chat from party chat.
All right. See you, I guess. I don't know if anybody got the memo.
Oop, Julian on the inside of the Alfa Romeo of Elthink, and then locks up. Elthink will get ahead of him in 10th. I'm still going to commentate the race. We'll see what happens. But it is Fruitful, actually, who's in the lead of the race right now after pit stops. And Zach is in second, Paco in third. I think the drivers will just continue. Obviously, if we don't restart, of course, Chaos will be investigated after the race for not retiring in the pit lane and just quitting the lobby. Now, we've had this happen before, most notably with actually a Williams himself. It was, I do believe it was, I forgot his name, but he caused issues. Iconic Q, yeah, actually caused issues for you in Germany. So we've seen this before as Chaos's car. I don't know what the AI is set at, but it's obviously not a good level. Like, it would be okay if the AI was at least a little bit faster. But nevertheless, here comes Ferreira on the inside of Mail, and now the leader... one of the leaders, it's Zach, is coming up towards the Williams again of Chaos. Let's see what happens here. Actually, no, it's just the fact that Fruitful is extremely fast right now. Fruitful has a 7-second. I thought it was the Williams of Chaos again, but Fruitful has a 7-second gap.
Well, I guess it doesn't seem like these. We're gonna do like half points, maybe something like that, because
we'll see what happens. We're on lap number 14 right now, or almost halfway through the race.
We're just gonna finish the race.
We'll decide after the race what exactly will happen. And Gil up in the 6th, side by side of Terror Racer, and Terror Racer loses it and goes off track, and now rejoins a little unsafely side by side of Paris. Paris will then get ahead of him with DRS. Will look. No. But, ooh, Gil goes a little wide. Gil's on hard tires. He's actually trying to go for a one-stop. That's interesting. I don't know if that's going to work. Still in a bit of a shock as Nolan, who was in the lead of the race, is out. And you can only blame one driver at the moment, and that's Chaos.
He's saying he retired in the pits, but clearly he didn't.
I did not get... I mean, it was not on the stream. It said left the race, did not retire. Retiring, you don't retire when you leave. The game will just make you an AI. So I don't know if that's if that was not known.
Yeah, I guess, but here comes Alan Vore and Raikkonen. They're going side by side. Raikkonen going to try and go around the outside here. Alan Vore leaves into the space. Now he's going to get the better traction around the outside. Raikkonen is up into P4, and now here comes Gil on the hards.
And Alan Vore takes the inside line. Gil takes the outside line. I think they made contact, and Alan Vore gets ahead of him. And now Paris is getting compromised by Gil. I think the two drivers made contact going side by side. It was a big lunge from Gil. I didn't know if it was necessarily going to work, but Alan Vore stays ahead, and ooh, Paris almost goes into the back of Gil. Paris is seventh at the moment on the grid, and Gil is in 6th. Alan Vore in a good position in 5th. Though I do believe Alan Vore still has to make a pit stop. And here we go, coming down the DRS straight, and Zach and Fruitful and actually Paco's in the worst of it right now. 3 seconds behind Raikkonen and behind Zach, and Raikkonen, Zach's teammate, is closing in on him. Here comes Gale. Gonna make a move around the outside, and no, made contact with the Haas. And still following. No moves. Close, though. Paris looks a little bit. And this is looking good right now for all the drivers that are currently in a battle for third, actually. It's a battle for third, honestly. Raikkonen is getting close to Paco, who is struggling on those mediums. I apologize. Here we go, up the start-finish line in the turn number 1. And this is it here, right, ladies and gentlemen. DRS activated. Terror Racer and Alan Vor both have 3-second time penalties. Raikkonen coming up the DRS straight towards turn number 3. And here we go. Dives on the inside and makes the move easy. Gets past Paco. Paco will try to re-challenge into the next turn, but a little bit too far back. And now Gale is going to get involved with Paco. Alan Vor close. And now Paris is trying to go on the inside. Side by side. Ooh, again, I think there's contact. And Alan Vor squeezing Paris off track. And then Paris swings it around the outside. And what a beautiful move by the Toro Rosso driver, putting himself in the 6th. And Gil goes into 5th at the moment, behind Paco, and will like to get ahead of him, and in fact will get soon ahead of Raikkonen. Sorry, what? I'm seeing Raikkonen ahead of my screen. Oh, no, I'm on board with Paco, that's why. Paco is having issues on those medium tires and now struggles out of the turn. Does have DRS, so does Gil, though, and Gil is still gaining on him, coming up towards turn number 3. It's going to be a dive. Where will it be? It's going to be on the inside of the turn, and then, Paco goes wide, and will Paris get ahead of him? No! They go side by side, rejoining on track, and then Paco slots behind him. Alan Vor is in 7th, and now will chase down Paco.
Okay, so they're about 10 seconds from Chaos's AI car right now, at least Fruitful is. So let's hope nothing stupid happens this time. Be nice if we had a safety car or something like that. At least bunch up the pack. Anyways, looks like Paris is right on the back of Gil.
Coming up towards lap number 20. Sorry, lap number 19, actually, for these drivers. NSX is on lap number 19. And I don't see where the Williams is of Chaos. Chaos is, okay, he's at the back.
Pit. Thank the Lord,
he pit again.
That's very lucky.
That's very good for Fruitful. His teammate, who's sitting in 1st, though, I do believe does still have to make a pit stop.
You just gotta pray there's like a safety car for like 10 laps to go. That way they won't make contact again.
And in 5th is Paris, getting close to Gil. Yellow flag, sector 2. There's a crash. It's Mail. Mail spins at the 3rd turn out of the exit and is down in 4th right now. 14th, sorry. And Chaos is way down the back. Just finishing up 3rd sector. Gil close to Raikkonen. Now on to the straight with DRS. Raikkonen does not have DRS. He'll get close in the slipstream, getting closer and closer. I think a little bit too far back for a move. Yes. Ferreira, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. And Alan Vore gets wheel spin out of the turn. Now Paco will try to challenge Alan Vore. Alan Vore is struggling, even though Paco has not made a pit stop. Ooh, and a big late latch stunge around the outside. Here goes Paco, but no, Alan Vore gets ahead. Here comes Paco switching back around the Haas. There he's trying to go on the inside, and now around the outside, hopefully, of Alan Vore, but no, a little bit too far back. Will he look to make a move here? No, and Mail is retired from the session. There's a yellow flag in the pits, retiring.
That's what Chaos should have done. Not that difficult.
And
Julian, no, that's Paco.
Here comes Paco, slipstream on Alan Vore, and look at this on the inside in the turn number 1. Will he make the move? Yes, ahead of Alan Vore. But now Alan Vore will have DRS, and he'll go across.
Ooh, Gil and Raikkonen and Paris, very close to each other.
And now Paris is side by side of Raikkonen. Mika Lutzi gets a 3-second time penalty. Julian is ahead of Jordy and side by side of him.
Ooh, and here comes Paris down the outside. He locks up. Ooh, it was very tight.
Oh, pushes Raikkonen off track a little bit. Paris gets ahead of him in the 4th. Gil is the podium man in 3rd. Getting dicey for the podium position between Paris and Raikkonen. Gil in 3rd. Lap number 21. And down the DRS straight. Paris in the slipstream of Gil will look to make a move. No, actually, keeps it behind Gil. And then, ooh, actually hits the back a little bit of Gil on his rear tire. And on the inside of Gil, lock up from Paris. And Gil keeps it. Raikkonen will get back into the fray of things after that lockup. Lap number 22. Flip-flop with the race so far. Who do you think is in the best chance right now of winning it?
I think personally Paris. Even though Gil is on the harder compounded tires, so his tires should eventually equal out with Paris. I just see Paris as the guy who has the best chance.
And Gil goes wide. Gil goes wide out of the exit and Fruitful into the pits. Zach takes the lead. And here we go. Paris trying to get close to Gil and loses it a little bit. But now DRS down the straight coming up towards turn number 3. Will he make the move? No, will stay behind Gil. Not a fan of the dive bombs, it seems. Paris now getting close, though. And Raikkonen dropping back a little bit from these two drivers. Now Paris back in the slipstream will move on the inside again. Will he lock up again? No, he won't. Much better by him. Raikkonen will make a switchback and will try to go on the inside, but Paris covers it, and Paris is in the 2nd position. Gil back to 3rd, and Raikkonen is now going to try to get into 3rd himself.
Yeah, Julian is closing in on this pack. I think he still has a chance of getting at least a podium. We have to actually watch out for the penalties too. I can check that. Because penalties are going to be a big factor in this race. Especially if you have a late safety car.
Jordy gets ahead of Alan Vore into the pits. Paco gets ahead of him, and Julian is in 5th right now, way behind the pack still, but he is gaining. Here comes Gil on Paris, getting close to him at turn number 3, but not close enough. But Paris does not get a good exit. DRS activated, and this should be interesting. Gil on Paris, coming up towards turn number 4. I think a little bit too far back for a move, and yes, Paris will keep it ahead at the moment.
Oh, Zach is on only 2 lap older than mediums than those guys. I think he's going to win, actually. I didn't realize. I thought he was on the opposite strategy.
But does he doesn't have to make another pit stop? Is it good for a one? Is it good for a one stop?
Yeah, he's good for a 1. So I think he's basically got this locked up as long as he doesn't get a penalty.
And Gil is in third, trying to chase down Paris. Raikkonen is keeping within the pace, but you do tend to notice he does drop back a little bit in the first sector. Gil. DRS activated. Up towards turn number 3 in the slipstream of the Toro Rosso. Coming up towards turn number 3. And he will get it close, but a little bit too far back for a move. Who gets the better exit? It looked to be pretty equal. Gale is a little bit too far back, even with DRS, to possibly make a move. And Raikkonen behind.
Fruitful, he's in a very good position to maybe get a top 5 here. He's on fresh soft compound tires. Closing up to Jordy right now.
Beat me to it. So I went silent.
Here comes Fruitful. As they go up towards the top of the hill, Jordy's basically just going to let him pass. He's not going to contest this.
Maybe not. And nope, does get ahead of him. Fruitful with major straight line speed down that straight. And still right, and Gil locks up into the turn, and Paris will gain a bit of an advantage, and Raikkonen will keep within distance.
Raikkonen, he's going to struggle on those tires. 30 laps on mediums is very difficult. So he could be in puncher territory. But they are closing in on Chaos's AI car.
Just coming out of turn number 1, and oh my goodness, how slow can Chaos go through turn number 1? That's dreadful. And here we go. This is going to be interesting. That's the other thing, too. The AI is obviously at a very, very
40.
low. It's at 40? Oh, dear.
Yeah. That's why if it was at like 90, I don't think it'd be an issue.
They're still braking all the way back in Great Britain. That's how early they're braking.
I know. He's going to cut. At least they only have to make one passage this time. I think it's one passage left.
The final pass, that's for sure, yep.
The final pass.
Here we go. Zach's coming up towards the lap car. I feel like we are overplaying this, I think, a little bit. This is like a big moment.
Like Jaws, like the shark.
And there's the Williams of Chaos in the distance.
Zach has lost half a second on the slap. That's something to note.
What I would hope is Zach would catch him on the DRS straight and pass him.
He will, I think. Yeah, he will. He'll catch him some point on the next straight, I think. Maybe not. Luckily, I think Paris and those guys might catch him in the right spot. But here he comes. He should. It won't, hopefully.
This is going to be close.
The car's going to watch. He'll break right on the racing line if that's what's going to happen.
No, takes the inside line.
Whoa!
Whoa,
why is it
racing
him?
Whoa. Oh, man.
Oh, here comes Paris. Oh, no, they're going to catch him at the wrong point. Or maybe not. Hopefully they can make it to the straight, but it could be like a Nolan situation. Uh-oh. Okay, I think
this is not looking good.
Ooh, it's not good. They're gonna catch him right on the last corner.
Oh dear.
Nah, I think they're good. Oh gosh.
Oh no.
Oh, it's gonna give him DRS. He's good.
And then gets ahead of him. Ooh, and wow, look at this. The AI car. Now Julian's coming up, and finally, I think.
This is funny. It's like the scare. It's gonna be the headline.
It finally,
Psycho AI car takes out leader.
yeah. Well, I think now because it's a lap car, the AI is recognizing it is, so finally it's letting him by. But I don't think with Nolan it was just at the wrong spot.
It was originally, but Nolan just picked it up. Nolan picked it up right in the middle of the corner. I think he thought it was going to ghost too. So
it's lap number 29 of 36. Crisis averted with chaos. A few other drivers coming up behind. I do believe that's Jordy coming up to chaos now. Yes, it is. And this is not a good spot. No, it does get ahead of him nonetheless. Now Elfink is going to come up to chaos. He's in 8th at the moment.
Don't count out Paris Bureau for the win here, just on pure pace. It's down to 3 seconds now.
We're on
Paris
lap
Bureau
29.
But he loses a little bit.
And now on lap 30. Coming into turn number 1, gonna get close, and Elfink's coming up to chaos, and goes wide though, and Elfink will come close to chaos.
Paris just picked up a penalty. He's the only major guy to pick up a penalty.
It was Nolan, but we saw what happened.
Yeah.
Still can't believe it. And that was a little dicey there, as Ferreira is going to now battle Elfink into turn number 3 and get ahead of him. Now Elfink will make a switchback, but slot behind Ferreira. That came up when they were battling with Chaos. I don't know if that necessarily had any influence on Ferreira getting close to Elfink. Raikkonen in 4th. Still keeping close. I have to say, it's impressive that Raikkonen's still able to keep up pace of Gil and Paris, despite how old those tires are going to be at the end.
I still think he's going to be in puncture territory. It'll be close. I think Zach still picks up a penalty. Gil's in the prime position to win this. All these guys have 2 warnings, except Fruitful and Paris, who both have penalties.
Getting very close to Paris. Paris is struggling. Ferreira with a 3-second time penalty. Getting close. Paris 2.8 seconds behind Zach. I don't think he's going to catch Zach in time, but if Zach picks up another penalty, things could get interesting. Oh. It's really these penultimate turns and the final turns, they're really, when you're down on tire life, can really hurt you if you go too wide.
Oh my, the AI car is holding up Alan and Gamer Paco.
Oh, there's a crash somewhere. Paco
and Alan Vore just got destroyed by it. Here comes Terror. Better just go around the outside Terror. That's ridiculous. It's not that difficult to retire. I don't get it.
Gil's very close to Paris. Lap 32 of 36. 2.5 seconds is that gap now. And Paco gets a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane and just retires from the session. He's done. Paco retires from the session. Obviously frustrated. Now, I don't know what the rules are exactly on quitting the lobby, but I do believe it is quite harsh.
If you're gonna put you have to retire.
But he didn't, so I think the penalty's a lot worse. He just left.
Yeah, and he destroyed 2 or 3 people's races.
Disconnects are in the rule book. I forgot exactly what the punishment is.
He didn't disconnect. He just left.
Well, he left. No, but he voluntarily disconnected.
Yeah.
While retiring. It is against the rules. Lap number 33, 2.2 seconds is the gap. Coming up to another lap car, that's one of the Haas's. It's Terror Racer. And no, actually it is Zach. So they're pretty close now, 2.3 seconds. He's actually within viewing distance now of him, and Gil is still trying to get up to him, but he is having issues nonetheless. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are still interested in more racing, we still have the Tier 2 race later on in the day where you can watch yours truly in Canada, WSRX, compete in the WSR2 Championship, and that will be on at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And still in the slipstream. Gil has not been able to get past Paris this entire race on those hard tires. He's getting close to him on this turn, and it's 1.8 seconds the gap now, so it is closing down, but I don't think there's going to be enough time. And
last lap?
Raikkonen is now dropping back considerably behind them. And here goes Gil, getting close, but no. I don't think he has the pace in those hards. I just don't think he has the exit grip to keep up with Paris.
But if he is going to make a move, it's going to be the next 2 laps. Paris is catching up considerably. Those medium tires are done on Zach. But Paris has a penalty. I don't think Zach does. So, Zach's still in the safe zone. Gil has to make 2 overtakes to him.
Gaining by him a lot now, 1.4 seconds. I don't know if he's going to get it within a second on this last lap, but even if he does, is it enough? 1.3. Gil, lap 35. Still trying to get past the Toro Rosso. Into the third turn. Still 1.3 seconds. Penultimate lap. Gil in third. In the slipstream. Close to Paris, but not close enough.
Oh wait, Zach has a penalty.
He does have a penalty, but they balance out at the moment then between Paris and Zach. I didn't think he had a penalty. It's 1.2 seconds now. Not a great turn there for Paris. Gil will try to chase him down. Final lap coming up. Zach in the lead. Paris behind him with a penalty as well. Gil might be in a good position right now. Actually, if he wow, does Gil have a penalty though? I don't believe he does. I think Gil might be in the possibility for a race win right now. Within a second, they will go. Hope just before the DRS straight. Alan Vore, 3-second time penalty. And yes, he actually is within a second now of Zach. Update me on that. Does Gil have a penalty?
Yeah, I don't think he does. I think he has 2 warnings right now.
So he's actually he might win this race right now. Gil might win this race. Paris and Zach both have penalties. And Paris locks up into the turn, getting extremely close to Zach on the final few turns. Gil just keeps it steady. Paris getting better exits. There might be a battle to the race end here as Zach is really struggling on those medium tires. Coming up towards the penultimate turn, 0.3 of a second. And Zach loses it out of the penultimate turn. Here we go. Here comes Paris in slipstream, and no, here comes Gil. Yes, Gil wins the Grand Prix on penalties, and Gil's your race winner. Again, Gil wins it on penalties.
Spun at the final corner. Comes Jordy. Jordy's gonna finish 6th. KJ Elton coming up to the line with Javi Ferrer right behind him. Javi Ferrer gets ahead of KJ.
But Gil, for a second time, has won a race on penalties.
I believe Alan takes 10th position, but might flip on penalties. Terra Racer takes 10.
Mick Galizzi coming around the final turn, and big spin by the Mercedes driver, and that puts an end to what was a good race, but ultimately a little sour taste in our mouths with what happened with Chaos. But nevertheless, Gil is your winner of this Grand Prix. 2 race wins on the trot in a row, and Gil looking good with the championship right now. Paris will finish in third, and Zach finishes in second. You've been watching the 2020 WSR Formula Euro World Championship, and my name is WSRX.
And my name is WSR Flip Flop Fish.
And make sure to join us in just a few hours for the 2020 WSR 2 Formula World Championship. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great afternoon.